successful, but have found they've run some of the best runs. Same with the Japanese, around about the 90 mile to 100 mile a week, and then tapering off to 50 to 75 in the last week. Lisa was doing 140, tapered off to 100. It's probably a little bit too much, especially with this intense heat that we've had to experience in the last 2 weeks here in Spain.
See the way that the women and the men will on next Sunday work their way up towards the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic. They go off the road and onto almost a wide footpath and climb these hills that there's been so much talk about. This road surface will be so hot here today. It's 8:45, but it's still stifling temperatures.
Running side by side here, no one's made a break, but they're basically helping each other. They will probably run like this, I would think, for the next 2 or 3K, and the deciding factor will be when they get to the bottom of the hill. Unified deal still not gone.
No, Arimori running with Yegorova.
As you say, Bruce, she fell over once before, didn't finish. Anything can happen here. You can see marathon runners running along, looking very courageous and very composed, and all of a sudden get stitched, blister, fall in a big heap. Dehydration plays a big part.
21 of the women came into the race with times of under 2:30. Only Lisa Ondieki and Wanda Panfil had run under 2:25. So, John, you can throw the form book out on many occasions in women's marathons. These two women were 2 of the top 6 or 7 fancies, by the way.
Well, the favourites haven't got a great record in marathon running at any Olympics. Second, third, maybe. Unknown quantities in the men.
Probably the only favourite in Olympic history, the women's race, Moller in 88. Benoit was second favourite or third favourite behind Weitz and Christensen. And with the men, Frank Shorter and Czapinski and Lopez were amongst favourites. Czapinski the second time, not the first time, but there's been very few marathon favourites win. Even Zatopek wasn't favourite when he won in 52. That would have gone to Jim Peters from England.
Well, we haven't seen even in the track here too many favourites winning. Linford Christie, amongst the bookmakers, certainly wasn't the favourite.
No,
he was certainly not in the women's 100 as well. And that's what the Olympics is all about. Withstanding pressure, getting it right every 4 years, getting it right on the day. There can't afford to be any mistakes.
So what an enormous battle going on here. A battle of strength. Not only physical, a test of wills, because both women will be running on courage alone at some stage here. Now, Arimori and Yegorova world clear. Moller was in third placing the last time we saw. Bigot, Kurova and Dore and Yamashita were 4, 5, 6. DeRoit was 7. Machado was 8. Moon was 9. And Barangalova was 10. And LaRue Smith was 11. So no sign of Panfil or Ondieki in the top 11.
You can see by the camera work, Bruce, this is a major marathon. You get the Japanese girl going away as we talk, trying to get that sponge. She's obviously full of running. This is when the break's going to start.
Well, you
as I was saying, the camera work not all that great because we're only seeing 1, 2, and 3. And of course, they're totally inexperienced with major marathons here in Spain. But apart from that, they've done a wonderful job. This Olympics has been a huge success, and still many, many victories to be clinched yet, and many fine performances, and many mountains to climb.
Well, there's one big climb here as they come up the main road in towards the palace, and before they get to the palace and the famous fountains here, they'll go left and work their way up towards the hill. So they're now into the parallel. The famous pillars here in Barcelona. Thousands and thousands of people congregate here in the evening, and you can see the palace that they're running towards. Yegorova keeps looking back. The fountains will be turned on. They come out in all their colours at night time. It's a sensational scene here in Barcelona in this square at night. IBC, where we're broadcasting from in our studios, is just to the left of the women here, and the main press centre also just to the left. But they won't be stopping for interviews at this stage.
Celebration starts only at 10 o'clock at night. The Spaniards come out in their thousands. 80,000 people pour out of the stadium every night and take off to the restaurants, and still at the wee hours of the morning at 1 or 2 o'clock, they're still dining and wining.
So still no decisive break. There's the main fountain here. You can see the two runners. They look like tiny dots in the background. Arimori on the left, and on the right, Yegorova. No sign of Moller. So the gold medal, you would say for certain. Well, yes, we did see it. What, 250, 300 metres behind?
250 metres. Very deceptive. The race is not won yet or lost. The gold medal won't be handed out until they cross the line.
4 kilometres to go. We just went past 38 kilometres.
Still the hardest part of this race to come. We keep talking about this killer hill. as the marathon runners call it, 700 metres uphill.
So what are we looking at? About another 16 or 17 minutes of running? Something like that. Rosa Moller in 1982 won the Athens Marathon, the first of the major marathons for women. She took 2 hours 36. This could be the slowest major marathon in history. It means nothing, though, at this level and in such competition.
And these girls stand on the dais and they collect 1, 2, and 3, and that gold medal goes around the neck. They're not going to be too concerned about when they look up and see 2 hours 37.
Arimori on the right of screen and Yegorova on the left. The unified team in Japan, one of 3 runners. The hills are about to commence. One sharp hill coming up very shortly, and could this be a deciding factor, John? They're about to get to a hill that's going to be very tough for them. And I just wonder if they're both now prepared to sit and wait until they get to the stadium and take their chances. It must be hurting so much, but Arimori might be going. Here we go. She may be going for it here. And Yegorova, they get some space beside one another. And if anything, Yegorova's going as well as Arimori again now, isn't she?
Arimori still looks a little bit under pressure to me. She's overstriding a little bit. They're both having a go here. They're starting to climb now, the shortening of the stride. This will be where the race is won and lost. In fact, the unified girl's pulling away again. She's not done with yet.
Well, Yegorova up this hill has moved 2 metres in front. Arimori responds.
Oh, this is a great race. You would never think this is the end of 26 miles, would you?
This is a steep hill. They turn right off the road into a park and wind their way up towards the Olympic Stadium. They've rearranged the course a little to try and make it not quite so tough in the concluding kilometres, and we're about to see the manufactured bit in a moment.
This is where they were saying right before the race, this is where the race would be won or lost. We still haven't seen a decisive winner yet. Both girls trying to test each other out, but too frightened to take a little break.
Well, neither of them have been major winners, and I say that with the utmost respect. Inexperienced Arimori, just 3 marathons, and yet to win a marathon. And in the case of Yegorova, she also hasn't won a major marathon. So, John, for one of them, they're going to taste the sweetest victory of them all for the first time. But look how tough it is. It's up the hill. They've been running now for 2 hours and 20 minutes in enormously stifling conditions. It's been so hot here. When we're sweating so much here in the stadium looking on, and we're not even moving, and these 2 women have just run their hearts out. They've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and still they go stride for stride.
Isn't this a picturesque setting? Russian girl breaking away again.
38.8 kilometres here.
This is where they said the race would be won and lost. This is where the gold and silver, I feel, will be handed out. Deputy girls hadn't given it away yet, but she's looking a little bit under pressure. Decisive move there.
Yes, away by about 6 or 7 metres, and unless Arimori can quickly get back, it could be Yegorova's gold medal, because there will be a downhill bit coming up, and Yegorova, it's now, look at, she should get momentum, and running downhill after so long will be just as tough as running uphill for their legs.
I have a feeling the Japanese girl's not done with yet. I'm sure she's going to put a little bit of a spurt. You can see the determination on her face. She's not going to let this gold medal disappear here.
Up the hill again.
Oh, this is a tough course.
You wouldn't want 15 or 20 men at this stage in this narrow little confine trying to battle out a gold medal.
We walk up this hill every day to this studio, and that's tough enough, and the heat is exhausting. These girls have just about run 26 miles.
About to get to a 500-metre flat stretch in just a moment, where they'll get some relief, if that's the right word to use. See, they're twisting their way through as they climb the mountain they call the Mountain of the Jews here in Barcelona, Montjuic.
Can we imagine this race being decided on the track?
Well, there's every chance that it will be now, because now Arimori takes from Yegorova, and in a funny way, I guess it's as if they've both gained some strength from one another through this contest, don't you feel?
No one's decisive. No one's really bursting away. This track race, this marathon, I should say, is going to be decided probably on the last 400 metres of the track. And whoever can sprint, and we don't know that yet because they're both inexperienced, will win this race.
Yegorova just clearing the nostrils as Arimori. Well, Di Castelli used to do that in his great days of 83 and 82 and 81. But Arimori and Yegorova, Lorraine Moller, we can only tell you, was in 3rd position at 35 kilometres. The split for those statistically minded was 2:06.36 for the leader at 35k. So it's going to be slow. It's going to be in the high 2:30s. Perhaps the slowest major marathon in history for women, but it counts for nothing, as we said already.
If we imagined 2.5 hours ago to see the favourites drop so easily, and these young two inexperienced girls, one from the unified country, one from Japan, fighting out for the gold medal contention.
Well, certainly in Arimori's case, with just 3 marathons, and Yegorova with a little bit more experience, having been 3rd in the European Championships, in very similar conditions to this. Now, we're about to come to one of the really tough sections, a hill coming up, which could be, well, a crunch time for either of these two women, Yegorova and Arimori. There's a long downhill section coming after this. You can see the incline. Imagine running this. Now, here's Moller. Remember that scene, what, a minute ago, I guess, when they went past the fountain. Moller getting a lot of support, but surely out of the gold medal race at this stage. Now, look at the climb here. Both up this hill, and there'll be a long downhill after this, and if somebody can get some momentum as they're closing in on the stadium, then they can have a gold medal. What a difference, John, there is. I'll say this with respect, between a gold medal at the Olympic Games and a silver. There's such a difference. One of these women will be taking home a gold medal in about 10 minutes' time, and the other will have to be content with the silver.
Well, if you ask the great Ron Clark if he would have swapped the gold medal for all the world records that he broke, I'm sure he would have loved to be standing on the dais with that gold around him.
Well, who will have it here? Will it be Yegorova, the 28-year-old Russian running for the unified team today? Or will it be Arimori, the 25-year-old from Japan, who was 4th last year? She just missed out on a medal last year in a group of 4 until the closing stages in Tokyo, and then Panfil split them up and Arimori dropped off and missed the medal. So we're inside the last 13 minutes of this race, and you can see how tough it is. Lorraine Moller can hardly lift her legs in 3rd place, in the 37-year-old Kiwi.
She would have been used to all these hill running. Runs the Waiatarua in New Zealand, 22 miles of the hardest run you'd ever want to run, the famous Lydiard course, so she'll be used to these hills. But she's running a courageous race. But here, the girls are trying to make another break.
Well, the downhill section coming up, and you can see the cadence has increased, and Yegorova gets a little gap on Arimori. But as you've made the point, John, they've made little breaks, but no one has really been